Hey, it's Joy Foster, founder of TechPixies and the host of the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And I am here with someone who was not expecting to be on the podcast this morning, but I begged her, please come on the podcast because I want to talk about something really, really important in the social media world. And that is, when do you make the decision to go from organic social media to paid social media? And so I've got a guest on the podcast who's making that move. Now, I made that move several years ago. I made that move about 5 years ago, and I made it with the guidance of a mentor. And we're very lucky that we have built a system and a program at TechPixies where we can mentor our own students through making that big decision. So Fern Fuller, welcome to the podcast. I'm delighted to have you back on as a guest. Your story has been very popular with people. There's so much to tell about your story. Let's do a really quick recap of your story. And then I want to talk about the difference between organic social media and paid social media. So just recap for everybody who might not have heard your original story on the podcast.
Right. So I joined TechPixies in October 2020, I want to say, just before COVID. I joined because I was looking to upskill, to get some more skills in my actual career, my employed career. Fast forward about 4 or 5 months. I completed the first tranche. I left my job. I had implemented the LinkedIn training and learning that I learned on the social media management course. I was self-employed then by about June. I then did the Dream Builder course. I've now been fully booked up with clients. My income is growing year on year. I pay myself the equivalent of my full-time salary that I earned pro rata 2 years ago. I pay myself an enhanced pension of 10% of my gross income, not my actual salary. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I've built sheds and been on holiday. That's all been debt-free. And my main platform that I am on is LinkedIn. And I'm branching out into Facebook. I've been doing that for about the last year in preparation for what we're about to talk about, putting out paid adverts.
Okay, I love that. And that is like such a whistle-stop tour. So you've done this while being a single mom. You're working part-time, so you're making the equivalent of what you were making when you were working for somebody else, and you were full-time for that person. And now you're part-time and your own schedule, your own terms. And also you had lost a big portion of your pension overnight. You've not only replaced that, but now you've got a luxury of contributing more to it.
So my pension is back where it should be, and I'm obviously contributing that extra 10%. But I also have, I think, lots of single women or parents aspire to have like a rainy day account. And normally I was having like 3 months of bill money, which is the money I actually need to pay the bills, not live on, and haircuts and that sort of stuff. And now I have 6 months of actual money of, having what I could pay myself, as well as earning well and doing what I need to do part-time, like you say, Joy. So I can do things like this last minute, so that I can join the Business Beyond Social training, actually as a coach, as well as being there and learning stuff at the same time, and go for dog walks, take my child to school. So I won't say living the dream. I'm getting towards the dream, but I'm on the right path, and I'm heading towards the way I want to be. So
yeah, I love that so much. And here's the reason I wanted you to come on. So in the boot camp, in the Social Media Superhero Boot Camp, which people can participate at by going to techpixies.com/bootcamp. In the boot camp, I talk about the reason people don't think that they're making sales. I say the sales are in the mails, and we talk about how to get people off social media and onto an email list. But there's 2 ways to do this, right? There's an organic way to do this where you're putting lead magnets out. So you're putting something out onto social media where people have to give you an email address to then get onto your mailing list. And then there's a paid way of doing that, which sort of accelerates the people signing up. I'm a huge fan of getting your organic social media nailed, working really diligently on that to figure out what your message is, who you're talking to, and to test things out in an organic fashion before you then put money behind paid advertising. You have to have that organic build. A lot of people will then stop at the organic build and they'll never move over to the paid advertising. And there's a point at which you're going to keep growing, but you're growing relatively slowly. Now, you I've actually got clients off of organic social media. So up until now, like we're filming this in January 2024. You've never run a paid advertisement.
I've literally used LinkedIn, organic advertising. I'm in the mastermind. I started a newsletter of January 2023. I've sent that every week for the last year. I've posted every day or at least 2 or 3 times a week on LinkedIn. And as I said, on Facebook as well. So it's been all organic. I've done lead magnets. I've generated those. I built a website last year, even though I've been in business 2.5 years. So I've slowly built my organic presence through my webpage, through my posting, through my newsletter.
And what percentage of your clients that you've built up over the last year have come through the efforts that you've made on social media and email?
I want to say 100%, but the truth is the people that I've got from LinkedIn have then done referrals and recommendations.
So it is 100% because you get a client and then they recommend someone else, and that's how that's building on itself. Okay, cool.
And it also prompted people that didn't know that I was self-employed. So, so yes, there's been people from my previous employments that I now work with, but they saw me, they saw me on LinkedIn. So yes, it all has been through that social platform.
Okay, awesome. Now, there's a major shift that happened for you this year when you were, so here you are before, so tell people sort of what you were sort of doing the doing.
Yes.
Tell people what you were doing. And then that moment we went to Kildare. So Fern's in the mastermind. We went to Kildare, which is in Ireland. And we had a really good think about the next phase of everyone's businesses. And there was a shift that happened to you. What were you doing before, and what was the shift that you felt?
Well, I think the shift was I was very much in the doing. My time is maxed out. So whilst I do have more time that I could give my clients, that would then impact my flexibility and the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I couldn't help any more people. I also noticed, because we were doing the reflection, of things that I was doing over and over again. Things that my clients needed in place before I could start giving, I would say added value, but move them forward where they want to be. I do a lot of tips and things on LinkedIn, and it's almost like the next step.
So you've been doing like a fully done for you service. You were fully booked out. You had, and this is, first of all, she made the shift from working for someone else to working for herself to now being fully booked out, all with organic social media, all with organic emailing. And now this shift starts to happen where you go, actually, I don't want to do the do it for you service. I don't have, not even that you don't want to do it, but you don't have the time and capacity to add anyone else. No. So you switch from a done for you in your mind to what do you want to help people to do?
So I do more, and that's what I currently do with my clients. So it's more guidance, coaching, showing people, being more on the strategic side, more of like a chief of staff role, which is what I currently do. But I no longer have the capacity to be what a normal executive assistant, personal assistant, booking travel. I don't do that now, but I can't get into the weeds. I don't have the time to get in the weeds. But I believe if I set up the systems and the processes that I use, that would free up the time and also get you ready to then employ someone who could do it for you because you know what you're doing. And then you can focus on the bigger things that will move your business forward, just like I'm trying to focus on the things that will move my business forward.
So really recognizing I've got these skills and I can do these things, or I can coach someone through implementing these systems and getting themselves on track. Yeah. And you've also established in this last year of all this organic posting, who you're talking to and how has that shifted?
So who am I talking to is definitely the women founder owners. They are growing their businesses that are a bit overwhelmed. They're my demographic, so they're 45 to 55. They have children. They are neurodiverse. Their children are neurodiverse. Menopause is kicking in, and that's what I find with a lot of. And they're all self-employed. They're all running their own businesses. And suddenly the business of business becomes really tricky when you're overwhelmed, when you've got brain fog. You still all those skills and all those passions, and the people I work with all have passions. They all want to do good. They all are giving, and it's the back office. It's all systems. It's all operations that are tripping you up, and that have a massive impact on your bottom line and your success, and also can be overwhelming and exhausting. So it's trying to, pull that away from somebody, and it's. What I've noticed is that it's not a one fix. I don't need to work with you on an ongoing basis. Does that make sense? I need to come in and fix these things and then be there to advise and point you in the right direction. But these things will free up your time so that you can move forward. So that's been really good. I've niched down. I know who I'm talking to. I know who's opening my emails. And I know we get to go on to the paid advertising because I've been doing that. And that's been giving me another... you can segment and you can create your audiences, which makes me rethink and reiterate. And I've been working with you, Joy, on what is this offer that I'm going to do. And again, re-looking at who I can help. The person who needs their first hire or has a couple of people already and things just aren't working out. And invariably, it's not the people, which is what I've noticed. It's not the people you're hiring or the skill or the passion or the willingness. It's the systems. It's stuff that you've got in your head that you need to get out of your head, that you haven't got a process, that you're doing it 7 different ways. And actually, by giving yourself structure, you actually give yourself flexibility.
Well, and you said something really interesting to me. One of the signs that you know that someone's a good candidate for working with you is if they've gone through a bunch of assistants, because chances are the assistants aren't being onboarded correctly, they're not being trained correctly. And actually, if they were onboarded and trained correctly, they wouldn't be going through so many assistants.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about like all the signs and that you would be someone who would need this sort of support. So when we talk about the difference between organic and paid, you're just about to go on this paid journey.
Yes.
Right? What does it feel like when you've been doing organic really steadily, really well for a year? You've committed to it. There's never been a week that's gone by that your email hasn't gone out. You've sent 52 newsletters. You've got great open rates. Your open rates are really high. They're in that 60% mark, right?
They're all over 60%, 65%, which is brilliant.
And you've built up your list. And so what does it feel like being on the cusp of starting to invest in growing that audience a bit more and testing that out?
I'd say it's pretty scary. But scary, exciting, scary. I think there's a lot of scary stuff because it's money. It's being more visible. So whilst I have been visible, for me, it feels like a whole new ballgame because you're going in front of cold audiences, you're going in front of people that don't know you. That more people will be seeing me. So it's not just almost like my safety net of, I know the LinkedIn platform. I know he's on my Facebook page. These are people I don't know. So there's that whole visibility side. The unknown of the money that, you pay for your clicks, but having a budget and knowing that money, you've got to commit to the money first because the benefits will come later. So there's that stuff going on the technical side. And then just the doing, the mindset part of, should I, shouldn't I, who's interested, who's not interested, doubting myself. So there's the two things going on. I mean, I have a lot of support or whatever, but it's also, I'm ready now and why I probably wasn't ready before, knowing that I needed to do this for a while. But yeah, I needed to grow the audience. My email list is moving along steadily, but it's not moving along at the pace that I need it to be if I really want to make an impact and reach more people and find these people that I think I can help. So
yeah,
scary,
awesome.
scary, Joy, scary.
I know how scary it is because I've been there. In fact, there's a great book, Fear is Not the Boss of You by Jennifer Allwood. And chapter 10, I think, is a chapter I literally played on replay when I was, really moving up into the paid advertising world. But I really, the reason I wanted to talk about this, it just comes up every time I run a boot camp. It's the final piece. And I always say to people, there's a difference between organic social media and paid advertising. But you have to have a solid organic start before you do paid advertising. So people think that they can go straight into paid advertising and they really need that solid organic start for lots of different reasons. Exactly what you described, like to really have that year of, okay, who am I speaking to and what am I doing? And then recognizing that through organic social media, you can get fully booked out, especially when you're in that sort of one-on-one client servicing, done for you bit. But then as you get fully booked, you have to think, okay, what's my next phase? What's the next thing I do? And that's where, and it's interesting you use the word term passive income, because that is where people think, okay, how can I create more income for less time? And that's, I would argue that there's a misnomer to passive income that you don't do anything. It's not passive, but it's a restructuring of your income. And it's a restructuring of, okay, if I can reach more lives and have a greater impact and with the time that I have, how do I do that? But you have to almost get to that point where you're fully booked out and you've, to then say, actually, I want to rejig and reshuffle this and work this differently. So first of all, I applaud you for doing that and for taking this brave move. And I just wanted people who are listening to this to know that they're not alone. If you are just starting your social media journey and you are thinking, I want to invest in ads, I would encourage you very much to have, like Fern did, a period of time where you really focus on the organic. I waited a lot longer than you, Fern, because I did organic social media for 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. I didn't start paid until 2029 or 2019. Sorry.
No, forward planning, Joy. We're in the 30s already.
15, 16, 17, and 18, I did only organic.
Yeah.
And we built we turned over 6 figures in that final 4th year. So it's not like you can't do it.
No.
But then when and it was just like you said, it was just, it's steadily growing, it's steadily moving, but to have the impact you want to have, making that shift was the next. Let me ask you a question. A year ago, when you were, I think I was on the line with you when we sent your first newsletter to everyone. Yes. Is that right?
Yes. Because again, I had the scaries and the procrastination, and sometimes you just have to do it, and I'm really lucky because I'm in the Business Beyond Social course, and we're doing advertising and paid advertising. And we've got Katie Robson. I think she supports you, but she's doing the coaching and the training. And her module dropped on Friday. And I spent this weekend, because I didn't have my son. I'm a single parent who was at his dad's. And I said on the call, and then I put it in the WhatsApp group, that I'm going to do it because I know Katie. I've worked with Katie. I've been in mastermind with Katie, and I still hadn't done paid advertising. So by committing and having that person, like you said, you were on the call when I sent the newsletter. And that's really powerful when you've got somebody that can hold you accountable, or a group of people who are supporting you and wishing you forward.
Well, and I want to go back. You started in 2020. So you were learning in 2021, learning in 2022. And then you said, okay, I'm going to start doing the systems and I told these systems in the boot camp. These are like in the boot camp, I say, these are the steps you have to do. Right. And so 2020, 2021.
January 23, I think, working with you was when I accelerated. The webpage went live, the lead magnets went out, the newsletter started. And it's really easy to do all those things and then stop, and so it was the consistency of then the whole of 2023 was moving away from maybe an hourly rate to package rates, was figuring out how I could get more in my time, do more for people, show up, the newsletter, sharing advice, seeing who was opening, what was being opened, posting, seeing what was being watched, what wasn't being watched, looking at the stats, looking at the KPIs. And now we're in January 24, and it just feels like it's been a whole year of embedding and laying a really good, strong foundation. And one of the things Katie says, she talks about starting with an engagement program. So that's what I'll be starting with. My paid ads will be an engagement to get the audience in, but also you need the content. You're going to go choose those best performing ones that resonate the most. And if I hadn't had a year of consistency, I wouldn't know which ones showed up, because recently I did one with panties on. Was it the panties or was it the message? Was it the cat? Was it the message? Because I need the message ones to get the right audience, not just the ones that people clicked on because it looked interesting.
Well, and I guess that's my point, is sort of like 2021 you were learning, 2022 you started posting, 2023 you started sending out emails, 2024 you're going to start ads. So there is a clear milestone roadmap that you've hit here, selecting the network that works for you, starting to post consistently, setting up a newsletter, getting that newsletter out on a regular weekly basis without fail, and then now adding in the paid advertising, and all the while discovering who you are in the process, right? Yes. Who am I serving? What am I serving them? There's this very clear roadmap, and I lay that roadmap out in the boot camp. It's there in the boot camp. And then we've got the ability through our programs to serve you all the way through those steps and hold your hand and encourage you. And I wanted to capture the moment before you took the next major move, because your story has been one that's captivated our audience as you have continued to lean in. And I think it's important to say you lean in even when you're scared, even when you're nervous and worried and all those things. What are some of the things that help you from, you've learned so many amazing tools when you're nervous, scared, worried, frustrated, when you're in that place, because we all go there, we're all human. What are some of the things that you do from the things that you've learned? What are the things that you've done and do to move yourself forward?
I did the dream build, and the one thing is awareness. And knowing that you're in it. So, and giving myself permission. So I know when I'm worried and I'm anxious. My house has never looked cleaner before I started doing the adverts this weekend.
Explain why that is. Whenever
you're going to do something scary, Joy talks about DEFCON, which is distraction. For me, it's very much distraction and procrastination. And I will
procrastinating.
Yes, procrastinating. And I'm really good at it. I was quite tempted even to go fix my fence that has come down, even though it's miserable in the UK. But then I'm aware I'm in it. So then I'm like, okay, fine. Acknowledging that I'm there, right? You've got half an hour, and then you go and give myself a deadline. I also believe in having a workspace or a space where you go and do certain things. So you're in that environment, and then you walk in and you're like, right, I'm now, like you would work into an office or something. I'm now ready to do it. I think putting your head above the parapet and telling people that you're going to do it, whether that is my partners in believing, the masterminds I'm in, but also friends, like I'll talk about it on the dog walk or whatever else, because they're going to ask me in a week's time. So the bit like that Weight Watchers where you have the chocolate bar, but you're going, so you're trying to balance everything. So you show up and you do it. So the accountability is really important. And I think that, I've reminded myself of this, and I think I posted something on Sunday about it, is the not knowing the how, because I'm very much like, and I think a big part of why I haven't got the advert started sooner, and it was so much easier. That's what I would say. The other thing is remembering that things can be so much easier. And finding that, like you say, this reflection that we've just done, Joy, reflecting, look how far you've come, you can do this. That evidence is that I can do it, I will do it, I have done it, go and do this. So the mindset part before the tools, because the tools can be learned. You can go and find communities and courses like the TechPixie social media to learn MailerLite, to learn which platforms to be on. But the mindset for me is the biggest piece. But saying it also out loud to myself. I put it on my calendar. I make a space where I'm going to go do it. I speak about it. To the fact my son came back from his dad's and we were sitting on the sofa and I was like, oh, I hadn't finished the audience piece of doing the adverts. I'd been playing with it and then some more things were dropping into my head. As you're sitting doing something else, ideas come to you. And he was like, well, you just need a break. You've been doing all that work. And I'm like, it's in our lives. Do you know what I mean? He was aware because I spoke to him on Saturday night and I was at my computer and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, so it's speaking about it to whoever. Those partners in Believe, those people are going to champion you and support you, and getting it out there and saying it out loud is what keeps me accountable.
Someone just messaged me on WhatsApp who's one of our students, and she said, I'm really stuck right now and I don't know what to do. And I said, well, tell me what you've done to get unstuck. What have you done to get unstuck? And I asked her, what was the actual thing you're doing to get unstuck? And she just said, well, I'm just worried, which is what happens. We just worry. And I said, okay, so here's what we do. We get the ants, the automatic negative thoughts, out of our head and onto paper. So we get them out of our head, we write them down, and then we look at them and we say, is this true? Is this really true? Because chances are everything that you're thinking from a negative form is not true. It's just that your brain thinks it's true because it's repeating it over and over again. Well, our belief system is based on thoughts and emotions repeated over and over again. So if we repeat that, we never break the cycle, we're not able to move forward. So being able to recognize what the thoughts are, get them out of your head, write them down, and that's where the awareness is, like really that you've got this level of awareness. I love it. What I love about Fern's story is we sort of followed it all along the way. So here we go. Fern went from working for someone else to now working for herself to now making a really great salary, plus building up this really great cash reserve, plus making sure she's adding to her pension, and paying your tax bill. I know you're so funny. You're like, I know what my tax now. I got you got a tax bill this year. Yeah. Let's be grateful for that. And really this next step of pivoting, and I wanted to capture this moment right now because everything Fern is doing, I outline in the boot camp. Everything she's doing, from picking the network to posting consistently to getting that mailing list up and running with a lead magnet to getting new clients off of social media to being fully booked out to then now pivoting to think about what's the next thing I do. These steps, choosing the network, posting consistently, starting a newsletter, sending that out regularly, and then switching to paid advertising. These are all the milestones. And, to me, this is a very exciting place to be. And I think that's the important thing about being afraid or being fearful. The feeling of being scared and excited are the exact same feeling. We just choose where we sit in. So, Fern, how do you really feel about launching your ads?
I'm going to say excited. Excitedly nervous, but excited. I think, I'm doing it. I think there is the excitement gets replaced by I'm always at a pride, that you're doing it, that that you're taking those action steps, which kind of pushes the fear to one side, because I like the sense of achievement. I like doing. So then I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, and it's like I say, a milestone. I've done this bit, I've done this bit, I've done this bit, and then the fear quietens down, and next thing, I will have adverts. Before you know it, it'll be there, it'll be done. So just moving forward.
I love it. Okay, so this is my invitation to those of you listening. If you would like to be where Fern is, sometime in the next 4 years, maybe sooner, but if you'd like to be where Fern is, there's a couple steps for you. 1, do the boot camp.
Yeah.
TechPixies.com/boot camp. 2, if you finish the boot camp, join the social media management certification. That is the first step on this journey, especially if you know you want to use social media. And that's TechPixies.com/yes. And then if you're someone listening to this podcast and you've already done our social media management certification and you finished it, then you need to be thinking about business beyond social. You need to be thinking about what my next move is with building my business. And you can just email support@techpixies.com and we can talk to you about that and figure out the next right move for you. And if you're not aware, if you're lacking awareness around this procrastinating, you don't recognize why you're procrastinating. If you don't have that awareness, if you're not able to switch between fear and excitement yet, then Dream Builder is an amazing place to be. And you can find out more about that at techpixies.com/Dream Builder. And one of the reasons I love talking to Fern is she's done it all. She's done all the programs, and she's got the success to prove it. And I'm so grateful that she's really been the first one to say yes, 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 yes to all of these programs. And she's also said yes to some huge shifts in her life. So we're going to be supporting you as you move into this next shift, this next phase. And I'm grateful for you coming on at the last minute to do this podcast. Thank you for sharing your story and your time. Any final words before we sign off?
I'll just say, just do it. Take those chances, to take those leaps. I joined TechPixies thinking I needed a skill, and I ended up with a whole new career. But you never know what's on the other side of when you start something. So just go.
Amen. All right. Thanks, Fern. I so appreciate you, and I appreciate the time that you took this morning to be with us. And so that's it. No matter where you are in your journey, we will meet you there. We have several different programs, and we would love to support you and nurture you and help you get to where you want to be. I believe very, very much in being the person who cheerleads you on. I think that's my favorite part of my job. You have a dream. You have something you would love to do. My job is to support you to help you get there. I'm not going to do it for you, but I'm going to help you find the pathway, discover the pathway to getting there. We've built a roadmap, and Fern has followed that roadmap step by step, and she has had some amazing success. And as she's leveled up with each of our programs, she's been able to have level up success as well. So just thanks so much for listening. If you have any questions, email us at support@techpixies.com. I hope this inspired you. And of course, if you'd like to hear the rest of Fern's story, we will be bringing her back on after her ads are up and running and going, and she's launched her first passive product. We'll keep you up to date on that. So continue to listen to the podcast. Make sure you've subscribed to it. If you haven't left us a review, leave us a review. We'd love to have a review. And also, you may not know this, but we have a YouTube channel where we run all of our podcasts live. We film them all live. So I'm filming right now live across all of our social media channels, including Instagram for the very first time. We went live across Instagram, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But here's the deal. We are like so close to 500 subscribers on our YouTube channel. And there's wonderful privileges that YouTube gives you once you've had 500 subscribers. So it would be my dream. It would be Kelly Austin's dream. Kelly Austin runs all of our YouTube stuff. It would be and Catherine, who does the podcast editing, and Colby. Our big dream would be to get to that 500 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed to us on YouTube yet, you can subscribe to us. And every time we run live, you can actually get, you can opt in to getting an email that says, hey, they're going live, just in case that's something you're interested in. But really importantly, we're getting so close to that 500. We'd love that help. And you helped us get to 100,000 downloads on the podcast, which we're well past now. I think we're over 110,000 downloads now. But I know that if I ask for you to go to YouTube, if you love this content, that you will please go do that. It would mean the world to me and my team, and we're so grateful to you. All right, have a great day wherever you are, and thanks for listening. Bye for now.